Hey guys, Fit Rockstar here, and today we have two-time Arnold Classic fitness champion. She is Ariel Khadr. What's up? Look at you, looking all fly in your Arnold Classic jacket. Two-time champ. What's going on? You just
I had to wear the jacket.
Yeah, you got to wear the jacket.
To match your Fit Rockstar show.
It does match my Fit Rockstar show. Look at that. Well, how are you feeling, champ? Has it sunk in that you're the two-time or no?
I don't know if it's fully sunken in because then I have to start my next routine and then it really sunk in. But honestly, no, I'm really just soaking it all in and taking it for, I'm not taking it for granted every minute of this. I'm so grateful for. So
this is what I love about you. You're one of the most humblest people I've ever met. You know what I mean? You're so talented, but you're just so kind, and you take a moment for the fans, and you know, you're all about the heart, and I love that. So I got to know, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from New York. I was born and raised basically in New York.
A New Yorker with a big heart? What?
I don't know, I guess. Well, my dad is from Egypt, so he came here when he was in his early 20s. So maybe that's why I'm kidding. Maybe that's why I got my niceness of getting around. But yeah, no, I'm from New York. And then when I graduated college, I moved to Florida. So I've been in Florida since 2015, which feels like yesterday, but I can't believe it's almost 10 years ago, actually,
Yeah.
really.
Wow, 10 years. And
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to tell me your age, but you know you look like you're 22, 23, right?
Now I'm 30 now, but
Well, again, I didn't need to know the age, but I'm just saying you look 22, 23, very accomplished, very successful. You know, how did you get into fitness? Have you always had the athletic background?
So I started when I was a kid. My parents put me in gymnastics and taekwondo simultaneously, but my parents were always into bodybuilding, or at least maybe when I was at least 5, they were really getting into bodybuilding. And they started taking me to bodybuilding shows. So I used to, back then there was only bodybuilding and fitness. And in fitness, kind of like now bikini has like 40 girls. There was that many girls in fitness.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was, and I thought it was so cool because I did gymnastics and my mom worked out. So I was just like, my mom thought fitness was cool too, because she didn't have like the athletic background and gymnastic background to do it. So she was more interested in bodybuilding. But for me, I would do gymnastics. So I thought it was so cool. And I got exposed to like that type of physique early on, really also because of gymnastics. The body type is so similar, and the look that they, honestly wanted us to look for in gymnastics was similar to fitness, at least back then. So that's how I got into fitness. And then when I was doing gymnastics, I had a coach that competed in Fitness America, actually, and there's European junior fitness.
Oh, wow.
So she wanted to kind of start a junior fitness in the United States. And so a couple of the girls that did gymnastics started doing fitness. There wasn't too many of us, but I was one of them.
Yeah, I want to know who your mentor was. Like, did you have a role model for fitness that you looked up to?
Honestly, because I got into fitness so early on, I used to watch like back in the day with like Kelly Ryan and Mia's, what is her name? The one that Semple, I forgot her first name, I forgot her first name, Carol Semple. So it was like all those really old school fitness competitors that did a lot of like real fitness moves. And when I competed in junior fitness, I was not 10. I just turned 11 and I actually won
Wow.
what they called Miss Junior Fitness International, actually. And the girls from Europe were really amazing, but it was kind of like a pageant. Like you had an evening gown and then we had a
Oh my
sportswear
gosh, wow.
juniors and we had to make a speech and then we had a routine round. So it was pretty invasive considering, I can't believe this is not charging again. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Let me finish what I was saying, so at least we could do that first. But yeah, it was such an extremely experienced for me to have experience in fitness, because these moves were really hard. The routines were actually like real fitness routines. And so it was hard, but it was also really fun as a kid, because in gymnastics, we got so judged on everything, where in fitness, you could kind of be more open-ended. And that was what I enjoyed about it.
When you did the Junior Fitness International, is that what that was? That was in Europe?
It was actually in California, but the
Okay.
girls came from Hungary and
Wow.
part.
And how did you do out of that?
So
It's okay.
I understand why it's not chargeable. Well, now I do. At least we got this part right this time.
There it is. I heard it.
Okay. That better not have unplugged it. Wow, I'm really sorry. This is so unlike
You don't
something I
have
would.
to keep it. It's okay, champ. It's all right.
Let me like not do this again though.
It's okay.
Good thing this couch pulls apart and back and forth. Let me just sit differently. That's
There we
better.
go.
That won't happen now.
All right. No worries. No worries. So from there, when did you figure out you wanted to do this professionally? Like take it to another level?
So when I was 15 in gymnastics, I actually trained as an elite gymnast,
No.
and I got really hurt in gymnastics. And I had coaches that were just, they kind of like just killed my love for the sport. And I knew that I always wanted to do fitness. And at the time I was like 15, almost 16. And I knew that if I wanted to do fitness, I would have to do the physique round. So I was like, well, I'll try to like see what it's like and do figure. But I knew in my mind I was obviously not going to really do figure. And also at the time, figure was like very new. So there was a ton of girls in figure. So instead of like how it was when I was younger watching fitness, now this was like figure. So fitness started to die down. But even when I got my pro card, there was, I mean, I think 40 girls total in fitness, like in the national
Oh,
show. There was
wow.
like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I competed when I was 15 and I ended up winning the overall at my first show.
Wow.
And then I ended up doing, I think it was one of Steve's shows. It was like one of the bigger shows. Like I think it was Team Universe. Yeah. And I ended up with 40 girls in my class getting 11th at 16.
That's pretty
So
darn good. Wow.
yeah, I mean, I had like obviously like baby fat on my butt and stuff, but like compared to the other girls in my age, I was pretty impressed, honestly, looking back at these
I mean, you're
photos.
only 16. Yes, 11th place.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
darn
then
good.
that was like November, and then I knew that Atlantic States, one of Steve's bigger shows was in June, and I just knew I was going to do fitness. So actually, one of my biggest idols back then was Jen Hendershot.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
So I had reached out to Jen Hendershot, or had somehow got connected with her, and she's the one that came up with the Sweet 16 theme routine because she was
Yeah.
like, "You're 16," like, and then because I did that routine, I mean, I kind of like I became pro very quickly. I won that first show. Then I did team nationals, won that, and then went to Team Universe and got my pro card. And then I kind of came out of the gate right away because I was 16, and that's like so uncommon. There was another competitor at the time that was young too. So we were kind of like head to head, but honestly, she was trying to get her pro card for like 5 years, and then I
Oh.
came out of here, and like so it was kind of like not really a comparison, but she never ended up doing anything with fitness. And then when I got my pro card, I honestly had so much going on. Like I didn't even get my license. I was so focused on
Oh,
this.
wow.
I only cared about getting my pro card at the time. I was like, no, I could wait to get my driver's license. Like it was like a lot. And I had to go to gymnastics. I mean, I had to finish getting my scholarship for gymnastics. I had to finish going to college, like getting my college stuff in order. And then I just had to go to college. And then I really just
What did you
was
take
like,
in college?
when did I
No.
say
What
that?
did you take in college? Like, what was you going
I
for?
was a psychology major.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. I actually came to Florida partially because I thought that I did get a job here in Florida, which I
Wow.
became a hearing aid specialist, which
Oh
has nothing
wow.
to do with psychology, but
Right,
actually really
right.
has a lot to do with psychology when you're in that job. But I also thought maybe I would always get my psych degree, and there's a school here that has a specific program for that. But I kind of went off on a tangent there.
No. That's good. Is this why you have such a powerful mindset? Because you really do. You have such a like you don't let any you have the blinders on and it's just straight ahead focus on your goal, especially your fitness. I'm surprised though, being a gymnast that you were, very good one. Why didn't you go into the Olympics? Did you ever think about that?
Well, honestly, by the time I was training for elite gymnastics, I was considered old when I was 13.
Uh,
So if you're not like 9 or 8, even like doing moves that are insanely hard, and you
sure.
have like all the, if you don't start off in gymnastics in the right place, which I didn't, I had like a bad gymnastics background. And then
Yeah.
where I grew up, there wasn't that many good gymnastics places. Like to become an Olympic gymnast, I was actually incredible at Taekwondo,
Yeah.
where I could have actually gone to the Olympics for that 100%. And
Wow.
I for sure won the Olympics multiple times. But I ended up choosing gymnastics over Taekwondo because of number one, scholarship to college. And then secondly, it was just honestly more fun in gymnastics, like with the girls, and it was just like more exciting to do gymnastics and also more challenging for me. Like Taekwondo actually came to me so easy that it was not even that much fun. And also, I was afraid to spar with girls in general because I was like, I'm gonna kill them. So I was
Oh,
trying to
you're
spar
vicious.
with the boys, and then the boys don't even want to spar with me. So then I'd have to honestly go and take private lessons with the master that I had, and then that just kind of became boring, and it was very hard because he would put me through hell for like an hour. If I was doing that now, then forget about the conditioning I would be in.
Right. Right. Do you
But I
still do
mean,
it every now and then for fun?
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
my toes are kind of like really messed up.
Okay, gotcha.
So I try not to. I'd have to like really wrap my toes if I really wanted to.
Okay.
I would do it if it wasn't for fitness, maybe. But like honestly, when I do anything that jumps to the floor with my feet, it like kills my toes. I
Mhm.
probably gonna need a total joint replacement in both my toes, but I won't do that till I'm like
Now you've had some injuries too, right? I'm assuming with this. Yeah.
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 I mean, I've had like at least 10 ankle injuries.
Wow.
Yeah, because my coaches were just brutal, honestly, in gymnastics.
Mhm.
And not all gymnastics coaches are like that, but this specific gym that I was in, they just killed us.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it killed our love for the sport too.
Oh,
Because I've
really?
had coaches that I loved and they didn't do that.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, but I mean, look, look at you now, right? Look at what you've become. Look at everything you've achieved.
Or-
So you won your pro card, Team Universe. Then you went on, winning tons of shows and being who you are today. What was it like when you won your first Arnold Classic? What was that like?
That was very surreal, honestly. Because I went in there with knowing in my heart I did everything I possibly could. And if I didn't win, then that's what it was meant to be.
What inspired you to come up with the Terminator? That was such a brilliant
So
routine.
I did Predator for my first Arnold, and I also pictured something similar. Like I just pictured it, the Predator my first Arnold to do Predator because that was my favorite Arnold movie growing up.
Yeah.
Ever like I liked Terminator, but I loved Predator. That was like my favorite.
What's your
movie.
favorite line out of Predator?
I guess if it bleeds.
Yeah, right.
That one. Um, so and then what happened was going to that Arnold that year. I don't know what I was doing with the flights, but I decided to get on this flight. And then in Miami airport, it's like insane.
Oh yeah.
I was there ready for the flight. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to sit down and eat my meal, and then I'll go to the gate and get on the flight. And so by the time I get to the gate, there's nowhere to be found, this flight for Columbus. So I'm like, where's the flight to Columbus?
Oh
Like they're
no.
like telling me it's like basically all boarded, blah blah blah. So I had to get this other connection flight, and then when I got to the connection flight in Charlotte, it says all the airplanes are delayed for like an hour, and then eventually there's an announcement that all the flights are canceled out of Charlotte.
Oh my
It was
god.
Wednesday night, and Thursday is obviously the day that you have the
Right.
meeting, everything. So I was freaking out, and I'm supposed to meet someone else from the gym that I guess her brother or something that they own the gym was coming on that flight from another area. So he was like, they were gonna get a rental car to drive me all the way there. There was no rental cars. So we're like freaking out. This was in 2017. Uber wasn't even that popular. So anyway, we had to take a flight to Dayton and he made friends with someone in Columbus to drive an Uber guide to drive us from Dayton to Columbus.
Oh wow.
And they had gotten my bags from the flight, which was like really weird because I never take selfie before the flight. I just happened to take a selfie. So I had my bags and I'm like, these are my bags, please take them. So that was a complete nightmare. But when I was sleeping at the airport, I had this dream that I was going to get number one. And then they're going to announce like Bob, I think, is going to announce, well, it wasn't Bob at the time, but someone's going to announce that fitness is starting. And then all of a sudden that Predator noise is going to come out and I'm going to come out from the side of the stage. And then we're at the meeting and I get first, the number one. I've never had number one in any show.
Oh, wait a second.
So I thought that was really cool. Yeah. So my inspiration for Terminator was because I did Predator, but I didn't win with Predator. And I told myself, when I'm going to win the Arnold is when I'm going to do Terminator. Like when I know in my heart I'm going to win the Arnold.
So
And I'd have it be perfect. And that's what I did.
well, it was perfect.
Thank
I
you.
remember that moment. Who's this guy?
Denny.
Denny? Hi.
Denny. My true
Lenny?
followers will know him.
Okay.
Benny.
Oh, Benny
Well,
with a
they're
B.
like working outside, so I just, if they're that loud, I'll put my headphones on.
I
Just let me
love
know.
cats. No, they're adorable. But, you know, when you first won, I was like, dang, that's one hell of a routine. Everything you did, the makeup, everything. And then you got to tell me the Arnold interview. Well,
Oh, yeah,
when, that had to be something for you, right?
When he came up to me and pointed at me and then like voiced Terminator to the crowd, I was just like, I couldn't believe this is happening right now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was really epic. And this time he actually said to me before he gave the microphone, so nobody heard him, but he said, "You told me you'll be back."
Yeah.
And then he said something about my contacts, and I was like, I don't remember what he said, but I was like, it's not a red one this year, but I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
But when you went to the, you know, I want to bring up the Olympia. You know, obviously it didn't. I know the floor wasn't that great. You know, it was like what, it was like very plush, wasn't it? The floor.
Yeah, it
just smushy.
it was-
spongy.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. It was, I guess, like squishy would be the word. Yeah.
Well, I only bring that up because I know, like, because of certain things on the floor, you weren't able to do your handstand, right?
So honestly, during warm-ups, like the second I got out there, normally I just do a handstand just to like see what the floor feels like. And I was like, whoa, it felt like quicksand as soon as I got out on one part of the floor. So I was like, okay, let me try to, as a professional, I'm gonna figure this out and not, normally I honestly don't really need to practice that much. This last Arnold, I was so paranoid that I practiced, like almost over practiced, because when I was backstage, I felt like I like worked out already and I was like, oh boy, like I just kind of
Right.
over practiced. But it took me like 20 minutes to figure out a spot to do the handstand moves that I actually worked really hard on. It took me honestly 5 years to figure out this move that I did
Wow.
in the Arnold. So I really was like eager to, because I didn't change the Terminator routine and I also didn't do that well in the morning. I was like, I have to pull this off. And so I just screamed at one of the photographers to grab me some tape, and I had put some tape down on the floor because I knew like in that specific spot, in between that spot, I could do my handstand move. And I had done it in practice. And then the same thing with the last move. So, but I think honestly, mentally, because I messed up the first move, like it ruined my mental state for the whole entire routine because it was right in the beginning. And it was just like, I knew in my mind it's over. Like, I'm going to be honest. So, anyway, so when I was backstage after we finished with warm-ups, I like was watching the live stream and I was like, oh my God, they took the tape off the floor. So I was honestly thinking to myself, I have no idea what's going to happen because I know this is going to probably go horribly wrong because there was almost nowhere on the floor I could do my move. And honestly, like I didn't even think to try to choreograph something else. Like I did it in practice. So I just kind of was like,
Right.
I hope that this goes well. But I didn't even do anything like that in practice. But again, I don't know because I found a spot on the floor that I finally could do it. And then I was kind of like, okay, at least I figured it out. But I guess things happen and like, I wouldn't even take it back. Like to be quite honest, I feel like a completely different person than last year. Like I terminated the Terminator as much as I won with the Terminator and it gave me very good memories. I just feel that I'm a totally different person this year and I'm never going to have something like that happen again. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to go one more year where I say better luck next year. Like this is the year.
Sure.
I've had enough as my own coach. Like I do coach myself now too.
Oh,
And
do
I
you?
do it myself. And it's like, as my own coach, it's like, yeah, you screwed up and you're never going to do that again. Like this person I work with to help me a little bit with my routines, he was like, I'm going to lay down on the floor and you're going to do it on my stomach because I'm like, yeah.
Right.
So I did this routine a million times on a cheer floor this time. So it was like, I knew I could do it on any floor because
Right.
a cheer floor was pretty much kind of like, it's super, I hated to say this when I got off the stage, but I just was like, I felt like I was doing handstands on a mattress. And for tumbling and everybody else's routines, honestly, was probably fine. But like everybody that had a handstand move, they said it was not good for that.
Right.
I know for sure that me, Jacqueline, and Missy didn't want to have that floor. We actually wanted to have a hard floor, but I guess majority ruled that they wanted this like soft padding underneath the floor. I personally feel that it was unsafe even for the people with heels on because when I got out there for finals, like I literally was like standing there and I said, I'm not going to move anywhere because I'm going to fall.
Well, did you
Like I
see
said,
the way Sydney was walking out there? She was taking her very
Yeah.
their time because again, you know, that floor was very plush.
I mean, I just hope that maybe they could like see what the floor was at the Arnold because um I know that there's like a specific name for that floor specifically, and it just is it's good for all of us and even just everybody else.
Well, again, I remember when, you know, we did our interview backstage and or we talked and you had this look in your eyes and I really don't want to, you know, disappointment, whatever you want to call it. But I knew you were just, I knew that it was, you know, it wasn't your fault. Obviously, the floor, but you had this look of hunger. Like, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep on fighting. I'm going to go and I'm going to get that Arnold Classic title. Like, I saw it in your eyes, you know, and I laughed because during the, you know, the time before the Arnold, there were people who were doubting you based on how the Olympia went. You know, they, oh, she couldn't do her hands, you know. You have no idea what Ariel's made of, man. She really brings it. And I never once doubted you. Now, listen, yes, I am a huge fan of yours. I always have been. I've seen you growing up. That's how old I am.
I remember you.
Oh, man. But I seen you growing up and I said, wow, she's a little powerhouse. You know, you're like the superhero. You know what I mean? So I knew that show was yours, hands down, 100%. So I kind of laugh when I saw some people making their, you know, their little guesses who's going to be the one. I'm like, yeah, you guys have no idea. And sure enough, here you come, doing your thing, and pow, you won it. Hands down. The perfect one, perfect score, you know? So I got to ask you, after the Olympia, what was in your mindset? Because you do have a very strong mindset going into the Arnold. What were you thinking the entire time?
I guess I really dug deep. Like the second I got home, I literally was on my laptop editing music. And I was like, I made that music in that like not an hour, but I mean, I made it that day that I got home. And then I made the routine for the Olympia right after because I was just so hungry to do an incredible routine, like put all my eggs into that basket, all my energy, because you can't do it more than once almost. It's like, that was it. And I felt like I should have done that with Terminator to an extent. But I loved that routine so much, and then I won with it, and then I was a little bit. I'd never won before, honestly, going into the Olympia, and then I wasn't like I placed second at the Olympia. I placed fourth at the Olympia the year before, so I was a little bit like on a. I also had spoken to Sandy, and Sandy told me not to change my routine, not to throw Sandy under the bus or anything, but I was just like it confirmed that like I maybe shouldn't change my routine. So I just felt like this is me as a competitor now. I have the time and the want to do a different routine and do a new routine. The hardest part, honestly, is the costume, to be honest, because I don't do the costume. So something I don't do on my own is the costume. I come up with like the design concept, but this girl Chelsea from Buff Bikinis and this other girl Rachel who rhinestone my bikini, my costume. To me, that's actually one of the hardest parts of the routine, probably because I don't do it myself.
Oh. You want to have control of all the things that you do, but except that one you don't have.
But they do it so amazing that
Yeah.
my concern is like, can they do it? Like, are they going to be available? Because you can't just change my routine 100 times and hope that they have all the time and energy in the world to try to help me do the costumes.
Right. Well, obviously they haven't they haven't done wrong, right? Everything's came out nice. You look great
Oh,
up
they're
there.
always incredible. That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
It takes a while. Like it took from the day I got home to like literally days before I was leaving to finish the costume.
Oh my God, that's a long time.
So it is a lot of time.
How
that it
long do you
takes.
spend on your routines, by the way?
You mean like making them?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it kind of depends on the routine, which routine it was. I've made routines in like a day, to be honest. Like this routine took a little bit longer because I honestly made the music and then I literally had no idea what I was gonna do.
You make your own music? You cut everything? Oh, okay.
So like I come up with like the music, the concept, and then in my mind, usually like especially for Terminator, I knew almost everything that I was doing. And then my choreographer and friend that helps me, Tom, he kind of like fills in the gaps here and there, and like small details too that I'm like, okay, I would have never done that, but like he just sees something different.
Mhm.
Specifically for like the beginning of this last routine, I literally had no idea what to do. I just knew that it could be super cool, and I knew that they would either love it or hate it, honestly, because it was just so far out there and it was something that I never did before or anybody did before because I made it up. Like in artificial intelligence is really relevant, but also like what is it?
Right.
How do you do a performance about artificial intelligence and it reads? So like on the live stream, I actually didn't really see the live stream, but parts of the live stream, you couldn't hear my music at all. So like people had no idea, like they were kind of making comments, but honestly, without the music, maybe that was true, but with the music, you would understand. So like that's like watching Cirque du Soleil or something without music. Like it's kind
Right.
of like, I don't know.
So what do you have? So now that you're getting ready for the big, unless you're going to be, you're not competing anytime, just the Olympia, right? Okay, good. I know some people may jump into a show unexpected. So
To
I'm
be honest, as the girls that did the Olympia and the Arnold, we too much honestly dieting that I don't know if it's worth doing another. For me, it's definitely not worth doing another show before the Olympia, considering that I'm definitely obviously qualified, and I really want to win the Olympia. So I want to do everything I can to sit back and do the steps that it takes to make my body healthy, make the improvements I need on my physique, as well as obviously make it an incredible routine for the Olympia.
well, that's what I wanted to get into because I know you want to win that Olympia. I can see it in your eyes. So I'm assuming right back when you came back from the Arnold, you jumped right into getting ready for the Olympia in your routine, right?
Well, the thing is, I already had the music made.
Oh,
So like, it's funny because like I said this I don't know when I said this, but I was on stage practicing for practice, and then the next routine music came on for the Olympia. I'm like, no, like don't play that. Please don't play that
oh
for me.
no.
Like we're not going there yet. So like I already was like ready to check this off the box so I can get into my Olympia routine.
So getting ready with the Olympia now, what is preparation like for you in a typical day? Can you hear me?
So
Oh,
I mean,
maybe
honestly, right now it's been so hectic after what, can you hear me?
Yeah. It's kind of froze for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so right now it's been a little busy. So normally I mean, I'm honestly on top of my workout still, so I really haven't taken any time off in the gym. I'm training a little bit heavier now with weights because before I was in such a deficit, there was really not much I could do with my physique anyway, going from I mean, except tailoring it down and getting leaner from the Olympia to the Arnold. I know I need to work on my posing. I mean, that's my opinion, looking at myself. I'm talking about the physique round right now because the routine round, I feel like it's like there's one thing and then there's another thing in fitness. So the physique round, I didn't place first. I got second in the physique round. I think I didn't get to speak to the judges, even though I did reach out.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
I'm just critiquing myself because I'm a good critique of myself. I wasn't like, wow, when I saw it, to be honest. Last year I was like, whoa, like I killed it last year. So I just need to figure out exactly what I did differently from last year and this year and kind of bring them together because fitness, the criteria for the division, at least in the physique round, was kind of changing last year. So we're you can't change much from when the Olympia was in October to March, when all of us had a very heavy muscle. So now we're really trying to figure out. I think this year will be the year that they finally figure out exactly what the physique they're going for is in the physique round for fitness.
It changes,
But at this point, I
doesn't
don't
it?
necessarily. I honestly don't even want to say necessarily I don't care what they say, because I definitely care what they say. But what I want to say is I want to look how I want to look
Right,
and be happy and be like, I don't care if I placed less and I was happy with how it looked. You know what I mean?
right,
Like I'm at that
absolutely.
point. So I'm just critiquing me as me at this point right now.
Hmm.
So with the routine round, I'm extremely excited to just honestly improve. Like, and I know that's
Sure.
hard for most people to think, but like, there's a lot I can improve on, and there's a lot of time for me to make those improvements and make improvements on the skills that I have, which I already have been working on actually. So I have a new move that I'm working on.
Oh,
Yeah, if the floor gives me hope
you'll
to
have
do that
plenty
move,
of hope.
honestly. Because like, if I can do this move, I can guarantee that there's absolutely no one ever gonna do this move.
I like hearing that. You're bringing the fire.
This routine is very, very meaningful. The routine of the Olympia routine, and it's let's just say it's my time.
Good. Well, it is going to be your time. I believe in you, and a lot of other people believe in you. So when you're, let's just say, let's fast forward. Let's just say Bob says, and new champ, calls your name. From there, what is your goal as a Miss Fitness Olympia? What is your goal?
I would love to bring light to the fitness division. Like I try to say, I want to make fitness cool again. If that makes sense.
It does
But
make
honest-
sense.
But it honestly is a division that's lacking, and there needs to be something that's going to give it some oomph, because I personally feel that the fitness division is really cool. Like, why wouldn't anybody want to try fitness versus another division?
Why?
Because the
Well,
body type, I know it's hard. That's hard. It's obviously hard, but all competing is hard. I think that there needs to be a way to make it seem like it's more, it's something that's more not easy to do, but it's something that can be done for sure if they have the right guidance.
why do you think the numbers are less now in fitness? And it is one of the most, for me, fitness is listen, I'm a women bodybuilder. I like the men's open, but for me, my favorite is the fitness division because of everything you guys do.
I think that it's hard, number one, but number two, I think people literally don't know what to do. Like, they don't know where they would get music to even start. They don't even know like how to put together a routine. They wouldn't really know who to contact for that. I feel like there's so many open-ended things that they just don't know. So they go, you know what? I'm just gonna, like, I want to be in shape. I'll just try a bikini, or I'll just do wellness.
So if you was to give advice to an amateur or someone interested, what would you say to them?
I would say contact either like me, some of the bigger, the bigger name girls, because we're going to be able to help you get involved in fitness. Me, Missy, Whitney, whoever's helping Jacqueline, honestly, doing these routines, or it's really the routine part. I think that's hard, because you can have a coach for the physique round, but the routine part is the hard part. If you feel like you like to perform, there are so many ways to make the routine round like yours. When you watch and see how many different type of variations of the routines there are, you can see how that is true. Like, of course, level of difficulty matters at the end of the day when it gets to the highest level of the sport. But then that's like saying, like, for someone starting bodybuilding, like, I'm never going to look like Hadi, or I'm never going to look like Samson, so I might as well never compete. Like, so then that's just not a good way to look at it.
Right. Yeah, you need to have a stronger mindset for sure. I mean, look, somebody like Whitney never had a gymnastic background or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to me. And, I mean, didn't she go win a Olympia title with a broken leg or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, Whitney's she's pretty impressive, but that's what I was going to say about Whitney, is that honestly, Whitney hasn't had any background in it, and look how far she's gone, and honestly worked her way hard, because it wasn't like she started off and she was amazing. Like, she kept doing it. Like, someone else that would want to do it, you can do it. It's just not everybody like me who had a gymnastics background and got on stage when they're 16. I mean, honestly, I'm pretty unheard of. But like, so I'm not necessarily the best example, but I feel that I can bring a positive light to this industry and the sport of fitness and make it something that people want to do.
You absolutely can. You got that powerful mindset. So, Champ, what do you do in your spare time when you're not training, when you're not doing routines and all that stuff? What do you do?
It's spending time with him. I try to spend time with people that I love, like my parents, my best friend, him. Honestly, I feel like there's so much to do when you're competing for me.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
between, honestly, going to drive, I drive an hour actually to meet this person to do my routine once a week. Um, that I'm in Florida, so there's a lot of different things going on in Florida with fitness industry in general. So driving from here to West Palm Beach or here to Miami is an hour. Um, Honestly, I feel like I have so much going on, so I don't even know what I could say that I'm doing outside of this.
Are, do you have any projects going on right now currently or no?
Yeah, and I'm working on like ebooks right now.
Oh, good.
I'm very heavily working on my YouTube and my social media. So it honestly is kind of like a full-time job when I am my own manager at this point. So I guess that's what makes it more difficult for me.
So what does mom and dad think of, what did they think? I'm assuming they were at the show, right? Yeah. So,
They've honestly been to like almost every single show I've done. I can only name like 2 that they didn't go to. My dad didn't go specifically to the COVID Olympia in 2020. My mom went, and then Tampa Pro when I won that one in 2020, they both didn't go. But that was the only show they never went to.
now, even though they're both bodybuilders, right?
Yeah, they were, and they never competed. But
No, they
yeah,
never competed.
yeah, they
okay.
never competed.
Well,
My
that's
mom can get her pro card, masters, nationals, and like
wait a
physique.
minute. Your mom got her pro card at Masters Nationals?
No, she can. Like, she can literally get on stage tomorrow.
Why
and
is
get
she
her
not
pro
doing
card.
it?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Let's get her on the stage. Let's
I'll try.
put
I
put
try.
a suit on her, glam her up, get her on the stage. Come on now. Come on, mom.
You know,
Well, the
now
reason,
that you said it, she'll do it.
well, the reason why I asked is because I think it's so great. You know, both your parents are bodybuilders, and I was curious to see if you all competed together.
I know. I would have loved that. My
That
dad
would've
will
been
never.
Oh.
But maybe
How old is mom and dad?
they're actually in their 60s. So
Oh gosh, they're just young. God, they got a long ways to go. Yeah,
they're young, but they're still in their masters categories.
mom, go compete. Get that pro card. Do it.
know.
So you right now you do all your own coaching, diet, and all that stuff, and then you have your friend Tom who does some of your choreography, some of it.
Yep.
You
And
are
then
a true.
I was working with my friend Justin for my like physique and diet going into the Olympia. He did help me a little bit in the Arnold last year. Now I literally just sent him a picture and he was like, keep doing what you're doing, because he's my second eye. So I like to include him in my like coaching circle, I should say. But like realistically, I do everything myself.
I know you get a lot of compliments from fans, so I'm curious, what was something that was said to you that you took to heart from a fan throughout the years? It doesn't have to be this; it could be anytime.
Recently it was like a weird message that I got that like they saw some like it was like super in depth, but it was like that I'm like an empath and like all these weird things that they were talking about. But it like resonated with the situation that I was going on. So I was like, that's really weird. So I mean, there are fans that reach out to me with like really deep email letters or like notes like that. Those are the ones that really sit with me.
How does it make you feel when a fan comes up to you and says, because of you, I got into the gym, or I started getting into training or fitness, or I started taking care of myself, or I started being more positive? How does it make you feel?
Honestly, at the Arnold, I was like, I wasn't expecting my line to be like that, because it was literally like
Sure.
endless. And the people that were telling me that I inspired them to do something, I was really, I shouldn't say I was surprised, but it's very humbling for me because I honestly do just feel like a regular human being. So at the end of the day, I relate to them because I'm just as human as they are. And so it's like, I'm at a loss for words, honestly, sometimes when it happens. The most, I should say, the ones that I like the most that I get on Instagram are when like a parent will text me a picture of their kid watching my routine,
Aw,
little girls doing gymnastics, and they're
now
like,
that's cute.
daughter loves you. I've gotten that like a lot of times. And those are the ones I hope that we can shed a positive light on fitness to get them into the sport. That it's like, it is fun.
Do you work with kids ever? Or I mean, do you have the
don't.
time right now? Yeah.
Even know how I guess I would know how I can kind of get started, but I don't work with kids. Actually, I really like kids to do children's psychology, but then that's a whole different story.
Sure,
Whole different
sure.
story.
So, I mean, right now you don't I mean, you're not doing any psychology, anything like that, right?
No, but I honestly, I'm always in the back of my mind, like, should I try to get my master's right now while I'm doing this? But it's a lot. And then when your brain doesn't work, honestly, because you're in prep, I honestly was thinking, like, how am I really going to study? I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that, well, in bodybuilding and in the sport in general, you got to be mentally strong, right? You have to do this.
absolutely.
What would be your advice to someone who feels like they can't do something? What would you tell them? You know, they just have that negative. They're just negative. I can't do this. I don't want to eat this meal. You know, what would you say to them? They're just feeling that low.
I mean, honestly, I've been there myself, and the only way you can do it is by pushing through it anyway. Because once you realize, actually, I can, because I did it anyway, then you're going to realize that can't is going to be actually, no, I can.
When you're going through your, obviously you train, you're working out, doing your thing. When you're going through those last reps and it's tough and it's rough, what's going through your head at that time?
I'm Bob saying, and the new.
I love it.
I'm serious.
that's
I
great.
surely will do my last
Wow.
rep and the new, and I'm like, I got one more in me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Champ, I am so excited for you. Who are your sponsors now? I saw you were on the Olympia Live TV with Tarek El Gindi.
Yes,
And
yesterday.
you didn't lose any Did you gain followers, I hope, instead of losing followers?
That's funny. I actually did. Yeah, I did gain followers, it looks like. So yes, Pro-Tan, absolutely very thankful for Pro-Tan. They have the best stage color. And I know that for sure because I was sponsored by someone else, and Pro-Tan kind of saved my life when I became my sponsor. BSN Supplements is my main sponsor. I got Gasp and Better Bodies from my clothing sponsor.
Love Michael. He's great.
Yeah, he is great. I actually just watched her interview with Irene.
Oh,
I'm a
cool.
yeah. Who else are my sponsors? I got Flavor Gang. I got.
I
All That
love
Glitters.
Flavor Gang. Oh my
Yeah, I
God,
love
Ross, he's a hoot, man. He posts
Yeah.
some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and Long Life Meal Prep. I'm
Oh,
forgetting
nice.
them. My meal prep supplement. I'm sponsor.
Very cool. So I would like to, listen, I know you're so busy with getting ready for the Olympia, but hopefully we get to see you in a movie, some action-packed stuff, because you got that tight body and you just, my God, you
body.
can be kicking some ass. Like now I just watched Bloodsport the other day,
That would be the next one. Honestly, I would love to get into like acting, and that would put a totally different light on fitness too, if we were able to get to do that.
You know who you remind me of right now as I look at you? Like the J-Lo.
I knew that was gonna happen.
You got that J-Lo thing going on.
I was like, I got the hoops and the hair.
Yes,
up
you
and-
do, girl. And the money, you got all the the flair, got everything going on. Yes. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you. I know you got things to do, but I wanted to bring you on here because again, I'm literally jumping out of my seat when they called your name for that because I knew that you had it. The moment that I saw you in the back of the Olympia, I said, she's going to be winning the Arnold. No doubt.
It really does mean a lot to me because, like you said, people were doubting me, but it is really meaningful to me when I know people really see me for the athlete that I am and that I can push through. And that honestly, my biggest motivation is disappointing myself. So when I disappointed myself that much, believe me, that's never going to happen again.
Sure.
That's really where.
Absolutely. But you know what else, too? I mean, you got that strong mindset, but you got the heart.
Thank
That
you.
takes a lot, right? Body, mind, spirit, I think, to do the sport and do what we do. It's not easy. It's not. But you still look at that $1 million smile. You still, even though you're focused
You're
always.
so funny.
Love you. And I
Thank
love the fact that you're just so humble and again, like you said earlier, I'm just like everybody else. You don't really look at yourself differently and you really don't. And I admire that. J-Lo. So
Thank you.
if you want to, I'm going to end it with you. If you want to say anything motivational, tell Mom again, Masters, let's go.
All right, Mom, since you're watching this, you better compete before, before I retire.
That's right. Get that pro card.
I want to thank you, Isabel, for having me on. It's truly an honor to be honestly Miss Fitness International again this year. I'm looking forward to the Olympia because I'm coming for it this year. There's no names I need to mention because I don't care who's there. I'm just being honest.
That's
It's like
right.
I want Olympia to win no matter who's there. And I hope everybody does their very best when they're there too. I'm not one of those athletes. So I'm proud to wear this jacket and thank you so much for having me on again.
Absolutely. Well,
That's it for now.
Miss Ariel Khadr, 2-time Arnold Classic champion, top Olympian. I am proud of you, and I can't wait to see you at the Olympia, and I'll be watching your journey. Thank you so much for being on. It's an honor for me to have the champ on here.
You're so sweet. Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you.
I really
Bye.
Bye.